Welcome to the Benign House. My name is Cindy Yaki. I would like to thank the Wajak Rotary Club Foundation for sponsoring this event, the Ross Beatty Junior and Senior High School for letting us use their facilities to practice, and the URSC for letting us do our presentation here at the house. Thank you. And I'm turning it over to Savannah.
Good morning, everyone. I am pleased to introduce the junior high and high school students of Ross Beatty Junior and Senior High School with their play of the Kentucky Read of 1847. Please enjoy.
Welcome, friends. My name is James D. Bonayan. I'm a Quaker and abolitionist. A Quaker is a religion that thinks slavery is a sin against God and man, and abolitionists just went to abolish slavery now. In spring of 1847, the runaway slaves came here to Young's Prairie. Some stayed, lived, and worked on Quaker farms. Kentucky plantation owners hired Mr. Carpenter to find out where their slaves were living so they could come and take them back.
Hello, I'm Mr. Carpenter. All the plantation owners had hired me to find out where all their slaves were at. At first, I didn't know where they were at, but I knew they were at Quaker's farm, so I pretended to be an abolitionist to find out where the slaves were. I had to say they were really friendly. They made food for me in lieu of me stay with them. Once I had found out everything, I made a map and sent it back to the owners to find out where the slaves were at.
In August, 13 slave catchers came here from Kentucky. They broke up into groups. One group went to a place called the Osborne Farm.
I'm Josiah Osborne. I am a Quaker and an abolitionist. I allowed many runaways to stay in cabins and work on my farm. When the Kentucky slave catchers came, they broke into a cabin where a father and his 3 sons were sleeping. They handcuffed them to the bed. I alarmed many other farmers in the area, and they all came to my farm. Then, we all agreed to go to Odell's Mill in Vandalia.
I'm Angeline Osborne, and I'm 12 years old. I was home when the slave catchers came. I knew that my father was helping the runaways to become free, and I had to say it in court. I felt bad for testifying against my father, but he told me he was proud of me for living up to my Quaker values.
Another group went to a place called the East Farm, led by a man named Reverend Stevens.
I was staying in a cabin on the East Farm when Reverend Stevens and the other slave catchers came. I heard the booming sound of the door as they burst into our cabin. I escaped through the window and ran into the woods, leaving my baby lying on the bed.
I knew from Mr. Carpenter that my slaves were staying in a cabin on the East Farm. We were going there to get them and take them back to Kentucky because they were my property. When we arrived there, the woman jumped out the window and escaped. Luckily, she left her baby lying on the bed. That baby belonged to me. I owned her, and I owned that baby. So I picked the baby up, took it outside, and made it holler.
My baby!
Got you. Come with me.
A man named Joe Sanford, his wife, daughter, a man named Perry Sanford, and a man named Rube Stevens were staying on a cabin on a place called the Bogue Farm.
I'm Joe Sanford. There was a knock at the door and I asked who's there.
A friend.
I recognized that as Jack Graves and he kept saying,
"Let me in, Joe."
Then I screamed murder to alert Stephen Bogue. Then Graves breaks the window with his double-barreled shotgun. Then I picked up my hickory stick and struck Graves across the head. He dropped his gun in the window and left. But he came back later with more slave catchers and they caught me, my daughter, and my wife.
I'm Rube Stevens. I'm a friend of Perry Sanford. And while the slave catchers were busy with Joe and his family, I jumped from the loft and out the door to Quaker William Jones. And I told him the slave catchers were at the Bogue Farm.
I'm Perry Sanford. I was sleeping in the loft when I heard Jack Graves at the door and saw the gun come through the window. Then more slave catchers came. I had to escape. There was a shake roof and I could easily move the shakes aside and climb out onto the roof. And if you've ever seen Lively running, that's what I'm doing. There was a cornfield that I ran to lose the slave catchers that were following me. Then I ran to the Bogue's house and told Miss Bogue that the slave catchers were here.
Stephen Bogue. My wife Hannah and I are Quakers and station masters on the Underground Railroad. We have helped many runaways. When Perry Sanford came to our door, I got on my horse and rode into Cassopolis. I got a warrant so the slave catchers could be arrested for destroying my property.
I'm Hannah Bogue. When Perry knocked on the door, Stephen left for Cassopolis and I took Perry upstairs where he could hide. I had a large spinning wheel that I would work to warn the runaways to be very quiet until the slave catchers had left. Perry could see everything from the front window of our home.
Hello, I'm William Jones. I'm Stephen Bogue's nephew. They call me Uncle Billy. I've helped Stephen and Hannah on the Underground Railroad several times and have let many runaways stay at my homestead and work on my farm. When Rip Stevens told me about the slave catchers, I told the women to go to the cellar and sent the men to the woods. I then rode over to Stevens and saw many slave catchers with those they had just caught. They had guns and knives, so, trying to keep calm, I said, I'm as quick as you are. Quite honestly, it might have scared them a little bit. I'm not sure. But what I do know is we were all trying to stay calm. Stevens then came back with help, and we all rode to Vandalia.
All 13 slave catchers and 9 kidnapped runaway slaves met at Odell's Mill in Vandalia. There was a big crowd surrounding them. Some had pitchforks, axes, and clubs. There were lots of free blacks in the crowds too. The crowd kept growing, and some were even afraid there would be violence.
I'm Josiah Osborne. The slave catchers had guns, and some others had guns too. I spoke to the crowd and kept things calm. There was a lot of talk, and the slave catchers believed that the law was on their side. So, we agreed to go to court in Cassopolis.
Hello, I'm Ebenezer McIlvain, a judge from Berrien County. I am an abolitionist and conductor on the Underground Railroad. The judge from Kent County was out of town, so I was asked to hear the case. The case lasted 3 days. I allowed blacks to testify and bring charges against the slave catchers for assault and for breaking and entering. The Kentuckians said they had the right to take back their slaves because they had ownership papers in the 1793 Fugitive Slave Act said they had the right to come into free states like Michigan and take back their slaves. I asked them to prove to me that Kentucky was a slave state by showing me a copy of the Kentucky State Constitution. When they couldn't produce it, I found for the fugitives. By the time they did produce it, they were all gone on the Underground Railroad.
I'm Zachariah Sugar. I'm a Quaker and a conductor on the Underground Railroad. I've taken many runaways to the next station in Schoolcraft. I always wear a white hat and am very proud of my team of horses. During the Kentucky raid, slave catchers came onto my farm and seized runaways living in a cabin. After the trial, I took the 9 kidnapped runaways, Perry Sanford, Rube Stevens, and about 30 more runaways to the home of Dr. Nathan and Pamela Thomas in Schoolcraft. Come on, let's go. Yeah.
Well, that's the story of the 1847 Kentucky raid of Cassopolis. It wasn't over though. The Kentuckians went home empty-handed. They sued some Quakers and others in Detroit soon after. So at the end, they got nothing. But for some of the defendants, court costs were really high and some had to sell their area. Some had to sell their farms and leave the area. They paid a high price for doing what was right. It's a lesson for all of us to do what is right, even though it might cost us a lot. Thank you for coming. We'd like to take a moment to introduce the 7th graders of the production.
Hello, I'm Vivian Browning, and I play William Jones.
I'm Carla Rodriguez, and I play Mr. Carpenter.
I'm Chris, and I play Josiah Osborne.
These are the 8th graders of the production.
You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hey!
I'm Madison Payne, and I play Angeline Osborne.
I'm Texas, and I play Stephen Bogue.
I'm Adriana, and I play Hannah Bogue.
I'm Isabella, and I play the woman with the baby.
I'm Aaron, and I play Reverend Stevens and Zachariah Sugar.
I'm Lionel, and I play Judge McElvain.
I'm Case and I play Perry Sanford.
I'm Jaden and I play Rube Stevens.
These are the ninth graders of the production.
I'm Christoph. I play Joe Sanford.
Now, we want to introduce the, let's put this all together for it. Yeah, the director, Miss
My name is Ben McCullen, and I play Jinsey Benign and Jack Reyes.
I want to give credit to Cindy Yaki, who has been a co-director. Cindy, come out, please. Cindy has been a co-director with Philomena and has worked really hard with these kids. Thank you so much. Phil, could you and Cindy be together? I just like you both in the video. That's great. Thank you both very, very much.